would you say you were financially comfortable as a child?
Yeah, for sure. I grew up in, let's call it upper middle class. I wasn't homeless or sleeping on the streets. I didn't come from a broken family. I came from a very loving family that did everything they could for me and my two siblings. I took advantage of that and decided to try to do something different and more. My family wanted me to be a doctor. I thought I wanted to be a doctor. It was like, you go be a doctor or a lawyer or accountant. I think literally like my siblings and cousins, it's like lawyer, doctor, nurse, accountant. And then as my uncle called me, the black sheep and independent thinker. But again, for me, it's just fun.
The reason I was asking is because I actually noticed an interesting pattern that successful exited entrepreneurs who were not driven by money in their first business often come from very loving and financially comfortable environments. So I'm actually doing a project now trying to find more people like that to see if it is actually a pattern or I just happen to run into people like that. But you are a confirmation of that, which is very interesting because that's not what people normally think. We think that lots of entrepreneurs come from very poor environments and they're trying to solve financial problems, but I don't think it's necessarily the case.
I don't think so either. I think in my mind, what I've observed is there are at least two types of entrepreneurs in this conversation. So one is exactly what you described. It's like the immigrant story that came here with nothing, or the person that comes from a kind of broken family that has no choice but to win and thrive and survive. Yeah, that's not me. And I'm fortunate that I grew up in a loving upper middle class household. But the other type that I would put myself in the bucket of is like, because my family did so much for me and they were so loving and supportive of what I wanted to do and didn't shut things down all the time. I would say the majority of the time they were supportive and let me do these crazy ideas like start a company in high school. I think that gave me sort of freedom and latitude to go be curious and explore these ideas. I would say that was accelerated by my first job. Friend of a family lived down the street, built his own IT and computer company, building computers, networks, servers, things like that. Also engineering background. So in high school, my first job was literally working on a basement floor by hand, assembling computers, installing them, fixing them, and then bringing them on site and also installing them and fixing them. Hundreds, if not thousands of computers and servers. And like that was my job. And part of that job is he would take me to local Microsoft certified partner conferences as well as Intel channel partner conferences. And I was like by far the youngest person at these events in that room, meeting with the engineers at Microsoft and the engineers at Intel, hearing about the latest and greatest products or chip form factors they'd be coming out with or new operating systems. Because for me, that was my business. And that to me, at a very early age, accelerated this idea like I can, again, kind of go toe to toe with these people. They're my peers, even though I was, I don't know, a freshman in high school at the time. And so that also stuck with me, which is like, wow, here I am at a young age working with people much older and smarter than me. I can do this. What else can I do? So I was really fortunate to have that experience early. And that just stuck with me early on, this idea of like, why not me? Like, why can't I do that? And the curious part of me always latched on to those opportunities to go see, well, can I do this? Again, Tula Skincare is a great example. I come from technology, engineering, software, and here I was starting a women's skincare company. Granted, I had some pieces around me to help make that a reality and people that certainly did. But like that idea of like, could I do this was just super interesting. Like, I think I could, let me try. And it's that question and driving force and factor that I think is required for any entrepreneur, whether you come from a broken household or the immigrant story or from a kind of loving and good foundation. So there's a good quote that I like. I forgot who said it on Twitter, but it's like, chips on shoulders, put chips in pockets. And how those chips get on your shoulders can manifest in many, many different ways. We talked about two of them, but I'm sure there's at least a dozen more.